let me start to speak about system design for sustainability for all, or better, in a longer way, design of sustainable product service system applied to distributed economy. And so first of all, I have to say to you, maybe not to him, you know already everything about distributed economy. almost.
I just have a vague idea.
Okay, good. I like vague idea. And why this is a promising model for sustainability together with the sustainable product service system. And then we say, okay, and why not to put them together? What happened? And so we will see why this is a win-win solution and opportunity. And then a few words about a scenario. Unluckily, we are working with Cenk to produce some videos about the scenario, so to have something which is should be communicative and part of one of the two. And I think that Cenk, we will be in time to let them to use the tool with the video that we are going to do during the design exercise. So we are using some video tool as a scenario to let's say help the designer to be involved and embedded in a different way of perception or vision on how to make business or to propose new solution. Okay. So we think that when you have to think about radical innovation, some tools that can communicate in a good way, which is the leapfrog that you have to mentally make when thinking about something that is different from the business as usual, are very helpful. And movie design and video sometimes are quite successful. And so we hope, and with the help, of course, Cenk is there, but even the images, Professor Francesca Pireda, and Marisa Calbiati are helping us in doing these things. We are working a lot with them because it's very interesting. So I will be short on that. And then, of course, when this is said, I will say something about how to design this sustainable product service system applied to distributed economy. Is not that different from designing sustainable product service system. The simple thing is that you have to do this applying to a different business model, a specific business model, which is a distributed economy, renewable energy, or whatever it is. So let me start to tell you something about distributed economy as a promising model to locally based sustainability. And yes, one of the first thing is this was even, you know, when I make research, I'm a professor on one side and researcher on the other side, you know. And together with the other colleagues, we said, okay, SPSS is a good business model, but are there any other business or offer models that are interesting in terms of sustainability? And one of those is not the only one, but quite promising and in line to what we were looking for, is that of distributed economy. And actually, that is, it's about 10 years ago when the first definition of distributed economy was presented. That was presented by some colleague from Sweden, in university in Lund, the IIIEE. It's very different. Is there anyone from Sweden here? It's one of the best center working on sustainability. I've been there. There are colleagues that I know quite quite well. And this Johansson is defining this as a selective share of production distributed to region where activities are organized in the form of small-scale flexible units that are synergetically connected with each other. Still a bit ununderstandable so far, or maybe not. But would you have me to? What is your set this definition? Can you, before I make some example, what is your idea and perception of distributed economy?
I think that it's a scattered economy, and production, different kind of production happen to each one of them, and they're interdependent to each other.
Yes. By the definition, yes. Somehow they could be or they could not be. But can you tell me the fact that they are distributed? What make us to think about if they are distributed?
Maybe each one of is self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient, even that we can think about it. This is something we have to reason about, and because when they are connected in network, because maybe they are not all the time self-sufficient. But the fact of the resilience of the system, so the fact that they are self-sufficient, or if they resist to some perturbation of the economic or other type of system, that is something we have to reason about. So again, you see, you said something that's already going something up to my mind. But let me give you some example, okay? One first type, the most classical and most known, is called distributed renewable energy, and I'm not going to be long on that. Elisa will tell you everything. You will know everything. She's the best in the world about that, or one of the best. But basically, it's like I have a solar panel on the roof of my house, or you may have up to the roof of your house, or you have a company machine and you have something up to the roof of your site, where you produce your stuff or whatever it is. And this could be my power plants, and the system could be connected to nearby houses where they produce energy. So there could be a sharing of energy, of surplus of energy. So there is a kind of a mini grid. There could be or there could be not. So this is, we will see later. But there is not only this. There is we can produce energy, but we can even produce product, hardware. Okay. And if we think that this is distributed, like the solar panel that is distributed, so it's close, it's nearby the user. Okay, the end user. Either is an individual or an entrepreneur. Well, if we go to the production, I made there an example, but what we may have, the 3D printing, okay? 3D printing, in fact, compared to the traditional system of production and consumption, which are centralized, can be located nearby or at the point of use. I may have a 3D printer at my home place, and so on. Production is not just throughout 3D printing, could be even, you can produce other things. You can produce vegetable, fruits, other things. So you may have your home garden in which you produce your stuff. And this is something you may think about when you will have to design for the heating system for the campus here in Bovisa. But it's distributed because it's not centralized somewhere. It's nearby the place where you're actually using that, okay? And what else we can produce and could be distributed? Can you think about it? What other type of things? Of artifacts? Software, okay? Think about, I made a very known, here put a very known example so that everyone is familiar to that. Linux is a software that is made in a distributed way, okay? Different, it's an open source system, and many software developer for free actually can develop in a distributed way, something that then it's used by a different person and actually for free. Not only software, even information or knowledge. Think about even the lens network. The lens network, as you know, is a network in which we produce in different places the knowledge that then is shared in a network, okay? Or the other very known example everyone is using, Wikipedia, is Wikipedia, in which everyone, not actually really everyone, but in principle, yes, everyone that has a knowledge can contribute to this encyclopedia, to the Wikipedia, not to giving the contribution in terms of knowledge and so on. But we can even, actually, you can do something in a distributed way. You know, there are those platform or system of network into which a different designer can collaborate in designing one single object. So when it's open source, there is no copyright, there could be different contribution coming from different person, maybe living one near each other, but maybe even living very far away in other part of the world. And there I put a couple of examples, maybe those are not so known. The OVS vehicle is to design a low-impact car. It's open source, and everyone can design and co-design, and so the design goes on and then could be reconfigured for a given context and situation and so on. InnoNative is another platform. Actually, again, Elisa was working with me in an EU-funded project by which we made a platform to which you can actually co-design together with the other designer, giving a challenge on something that has to be sustainable. So it's distributed because it could be made by different persons in different locations. So distributed economy could be that there are some, you produce something, either is energy, either is a hardware product, either is a software, either is information, either is as an output, a design, something that then could be, implemented as a product. Said this, so to let you know, now I believe that you get the point, what we are talking about. These are distributed economy. And actually, this is the classification that we have decided within the Lensing project, so the consortium of all these 36 universities around the world. There could be maybe other. This is the one that we have so far identified. But the characteristic, we can think, we can identify that there is something linked to the structure of the unit of production, that we move from centralized to decentralized and distributed. You will see that distributed may have a slightly different way of being distributed, which is decentralized. It's still very local, but somehow, well, we will see in a while. Another characteristic is the scale. We move from large unit of production, whatever we are producing, energy, products, information, and whatever, to small scale. And they have a sustainability potential, or locally based sustainability potential, because basically, and we will see, we move from global to local stakeholder or local user that have a direct access to the resources and to the use of those resources in terms of producing with those resources different type of artifacts. Either they are products or energy or information and so on. So actually, you very well know, but let me say, how is a centralized production unit? This is the traditional system in industrialized context. So we have a large unit of production, large scale, with a great distribution system that deliver their product, their goods, let's say, whether it's energy, because we have a power plant, big power plant, or a company that is producing car, so it's delivering their goods to several end user, even very far away. And this end user can be individual, us buying something, or companies or institution or organization, whoever. Okay, so this is basically the dominant system. We still see that there is a gathering of even in the car manufacturing industry, they are getting bigger and bigger. They are becoming giants entrepreneur, let's say. So it's coming even bigger. So this is the traditional system. Clear? Big, with big distribution that goes to take these goods wherever. Okay? Very clear. You know that. If we go to decentralized economy, if we think in terms of the structure and the scale, and there I may, we have some graphical representation to help us achieve the understanding. But nevertheless, we have a small-scale production unit that deliver their goods, wherever is energy, we are producing energy, or we are producing with a 3D printer something, but to local end user, whether they are, individuals, a family, or a small entrepreneur, locally there, or a local institution, and so on. And this could be either standalone, so we in our definition, we don't say that they necessarily need to be connected to each other. Sometimes they could be standalone, but in other cases they could be network structure, so they could be connected to each other. As you see, there are two standalone and two that are there. In the case they are connecting to each other, they can share the surplus of energy, for example. One of those is producing more energy that is used by the local community that one of the two is serving, so it can give the surplus of energy to the other nearby network, okay? Or it could be that there is the production of some good that could be shared, and so on. There is a surplus of this and so on to make synergies. But that may happen in some contexts. In some other, that could be impossible. If you have a farm which is in a lonely land where no one is there around, you cannot think to have a network for distribution of something. But nevertheless, it could be thought as well as a decentralized. In this case, would be a distributed, not decentralized. distributed economy, we go still closer to the user, so that actually the end user become the producer, definitely the producer. So we have small scale production unit of goods, and they could be again physical goods, as we said, but even non-physical goods in the terms, if we are designing something or if we are producing information, these are not physical, okay? Located by the end user, and this end user could be an individual, again, a small company, or an institution, an NGO, I don't know. And again, in this case, you see there is a couple of cases that are standalone. They could be standalone, you know, one farmer that is far away, very far from anyone else, and so, or it could be in a more dense area or in a village into which, or in a, yes, in a village into which it could be effective to have a network that enable the sharing of energy, but not only of energy. If you are producing tomatoes in your own garden and you have more than what you need for your own consumption, and you have an agreement with the nearby people having gardens, you can say, well, I have more tomato than I need. Oh yes, I would like to have that. So there could be a sharing, even in relation not just to energy, which is more easy to understand that this can go over lines, but it can go, you know, in a local network, even throughout some goods and other things. Okay? This could be or could not. If it is, in some occasion, it could create some benefit because the sharing could make it more effective, the system. Because the surplus could be a waste in some cases. So if we want to make a synthesis of this paradigm shift to centralized to decentralized and distributed, we go from, yes, centralized in terms of structure and large unit of production to decentralized and to distributed and small. Okay? Of course, the decentralized could be a bit bigger, still small, but a bit bigger than the distributed one. If I have in a village a unit of production of energy, let's say, a distributed renewable energy, that a decentralized renewable energy center that has to deliver the energy to all the to 5 houses that are there around. Of course, this has to be a bit bigger than the one that I may have my own on my roof and so on, but definitely different from the large scale power plant that we are used to know and to visit. And yes, there are the other things that eventually they could be network structure. And here, can you guess why this could be beneficial in socio-ethical terms and in environmental terms? Why there could be some, why I present you something, some example, and I show you, we discuss a little bit about that. Why, if we think to centralized system, either they are producing energy, either they are producing products, either they are producing information or knowledge or whatever, why they could be beneficial. In socio-ethical and environmental terms. You have some idea? That's good. Yes, definitely. This is in environmental terms. Yes. That's good. Yes, definitely. Because as far as they are locally based, and actually they are, and the production is locally based. The involvement is more of local stakeholder rather than global stakeholder, right? Yeah. I said two. That's quite a lot already. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A social cohesion. Good. You know, this is not in my slide. I will add it after. Good. Definitely. And other things? So this is quite close to what you were saying. Since there is a direct access to local user to the resources and to the use of those resources to produce whatever is, whether energy, products, or information, or whatever, and so on. There is, compared to the centralized system, a democratization of the access to those resources. You know, many times, if we think about the multinational of energy, they are going in, you know, in some low-income countries. Many times, they extract the resources, paying very little, so they get all the benefits and the economic benefits, taking all those benefits away from the local community are there. That is not happening in this case. So they have a direct access of that. They can give an added value to the resources. I can extract the resources, but then from those resources I can make energy. I can make the silicon that could be used in the mobile phone, in whatever. But so I'm adding value locally, giving, you know, both empowering local economy in terms of giving possibility to employment and skill and so on. Okay, and this at the end may lead to reduce inequality, of course, because we are giving more opportunity. And here we are coming more to the environmental dimension. And so she said something about the transportation, but there is even something else. So it's not just that. You said something that is typical, okay? Many people are all the time when speaking about distributed, zero kilometers and whatever. So that's correct. But I don't think that is the main. You know why there is why this is more promising in terms of environmental benefits? If the people locally are using the resources, are transforming the resources, so they have their small unit of production, small factories or whatever it is, if they have to take care about the disposal, and you know, if they are dealing about that, which is, and it's not, you know, maybe a multinational, a global stakeholder, what do you think this local have in mind? I'm saying this to take you to think why there could be an environmental benefit linked to this. If I'm living in one place, okay, and I'm using resources to make energy, to make food, to make something else, I'm going to live there with my kids, children, and whatever, and so on. Am I going to deploy all the resources, use all the resources without taking care that there will be resources right after? Am I going to cut down all the trees if I'm living there? Maybe not. Because I'm there, I want to take care about the place where I'm living. I'm thinking that if I deploy this, me being there, I won't have this, or my children's, the new generation. So I'm more directly interested in safeguarding the environment. And if I'm there, will I be more careful about the emission of the plants producing energy products or whatever, the gardening? Maybe yes, because this is again my line. If I'm polluting the water that I'm going to drink right after, well, maybe I will be more careful about it. Okay? So in my perception, this is not said so many times, but this is even more important than the fact of transportation, though transportation is key important. Because I'm there and I want to safeguard my garden, let's say, as a metaphor. And here are. So I want to use conservative and renewable resources and reduce environmental impact in different dimensions, okay? Because the impact is basically, or most of the time, over there. And here is the blah, 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 and I'm not going to read. So all we said, or if you want, I can read it as a sum. But we said, what is then a distributed economy? Is a small-scale production unit located by or nearby the end user, whether local individual, local entrepreneur, and or local institution organization, in which the producer are the same end user or is nearby the end user. If the small-scale production units are connected with each other to share various forms of resources and or good, either they are physical or information knowledge based, let's say, information and knowledge based, they become locally based network of distributed economy. And those can even be connected to nearby network. And again, if properly designed, this is not said as for what we said to PSS. It's not necessary that they are with a low environmental impact. If we don't design them well, they could be with a high impact. Transportation could be terrible if not well dealt, or other things. And other issues. So they have to be well designed, but they have the potential to be locally sustainable. We get about distributed economy something. It's there. We have it. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to couple these two business models. Of course, about SPSS we have been discussing much more. That was more consolidated, part of the course that I'm giving since several years, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not going to repeat neither to us that much. But what about if we couple these two? And as I said, this is the research hypothesis of the Lansing Erasmus Plus project. And here I make an example that Elisa, maybe she will make this, and very many other. It's one example of a distributed economy. We are speaking about energy. So it's a distributed renewable energy. This is off-grid electric. We are in Tanzania. I don't know whether I already presented this case at the beginning, maybe not. when I introduced the history of design for sustainability. Nevertheless, what they are offering, off-grid, what is offering, a solar home system, which include the solar panel, all the wiring and all the stuff that is needed, you know, to have the solar system working. Not only, plus some energy using products. What they offer some lights and some phone charger. Okay, so this is a distributed. So there is they are offering a solar panel that is on the roof of these low-income people in Tanzania with the light bulbs and so on, and so this is good for them. But the point is, would they be able to buy a solar panel, the light bulbs and so on? Maybe it could be difficult because they don't have the money to do that. Okay? What about if we make this distributed renewable energy offer as an SPSS business model? How would it be? Can you help me?
Affordable.
Affordable, yes, but why?
They're not paying for the product.
Exactly.
They pay for the service.
They pay for the service. They pay per time, they pay per use, they pay per, you know, we saw different way, different type of PSS. So they are not buying the solar panel, neither the charger of the mobile phone, neither the lighting system and so on. So this is affordable for them. It's an SPSS. And so on one side is a business for the person that for off-grid they say, okay, I have a new market. Before they didn't have this market, okay? So it's even a business. For me, it opened a new market about that. For them, for the people, it's improving the quality of life because, of course, having the lighting system, having the possibility to be connected with other people, this could have quality of life, but it could improve even some business, some other opportunities, and so on. There is even another thing that we even discuss when we speak about SPSS that is good when we apply an SPSS business model to a distributed economy as this one. So it's not only that I don't have to buy something that I don't have the money to buy. It's even that during the use phase, what may happen? Yeah, so if the solar panel breaks, correct. Maybe I don't have the money to buy, to pay for that. But you remember, in a PSS offer, the PSS offer, the full package includes the maintenance, the repair, and so on and so on. But you remember what was the other very interesting things? That when we apply this, who's producing the solar panel or offering the solar panel and the light bulbs want to make this to last as long as possible because it's for their own interest not to produce a new one to be substituted, to maintain as less as possible because it's... So we have the economic, the socio-ethical, and the environmental benefits all there together. Apply to one type of distributed economy that we saw that is very interesting for other reasons. So distributed economy, let's say, on one side could be interesting, but may encounter some problem in terms of diffusion because maybe low-income people don't have the money to buy them. Or maybe because the way in which this is produced is not environmentally sustainable. But if we make this to be as an SPSS, we can gain this advantage. So you get the point of coupling these two business models. So here is basically the synthesis of the environmental, the socio-ethical, and the economic benefit that I just mentioned. Now, so if we want to make a scheme or a graphical representation of this, we have two paradigm shifts in this research hypothesis. This is distributed economy, and we saw where we move from to where. If we apply an SPSS business model to this, that is a paradigm shift from a traditional business model to this, we can have something that is interesting even for low and middle income context. And when I say even, I want to say that it's interesting even for us to say that, I don't know all the income of the person here inside, but basically we are not low income people, okay? And why? Just to make a synthesis, because if we are speaking about, we already discussed this related to SPSS in general, but if we apply this to DA, we don't have the initial investment cost because we are not selling this, okay? We are selling the unit of satisfaction. You remember, this was a key point. We are selling the unit of satisfaction, and we are paid by the units of satisfaction, not by the product. And since by doing this, we are offering as a full package, even life cycle services like maintenance, upgrading, reparation, and end-of-life treatment, and so on, there is not the risk of the interruption of use because low-income people don't have the money to repair, to upgrade, or to maintain those products. And finally, since they are locally based, and this is very much linked to the fact of DA, not only because they are SPSS, they lead to the involvement of local stakeholders rather than global stakeholders. So improving local employment, that means even local skills and so on. This means it is a local empowerment, which has a benefit on the economy on one side, but even on the social dimension, of course. So if we go back to that scheme, we simply can add that if we couple these two business models, we come out with sustainable opportunity in low and middle income context because we cut the initial and life cycle cost of the hardware, so extending the access to goods to much more end user. We increase local employment and skills, so we empower local economy. And for the economic and competitive interests of the provider, the manufacturer, or the provider of this, we have even environmental benefit. It's clear? The picture? Is it? Yes? Okay. So again here, lots of wording. We have to write. But this is just to say what I said there before with the scheme. That if a sustainable product service system applied to distributed economy is a promising approach to diffuse sustainability in low and middle income context because it reduces or cuts both initial investment cost of the distributed economy hardware purchasing that may be unaffordable and the running cost of maintenance, repair, upgrade of such DA hardware that may cause the interruption of use while reducing with an economic driver the environmental impact and increasing local employment and related skill, resulting in a key leverage for sustainability and for sustainability for all. Okay? So this is a kind of a synthetic description of it. Maybe in the when you have to make the written examination, it would be asked, what is the for which reason SPSS applied to the, so maybe you have, this is a good synthesis of that, so maybe you, in a certain point you have to remember this, okay? Maybe with a schematic way, in one way or in the other, but that's, okay, that makes it all in one sentence. And here we, together with, not only with Cenk, we work with a scenario, but that will be better described in the near future. I just present you some few things about it, because we will have other and very more interesting video to present and to describe this. But nevertheless, as when we design scenario, we usually define what we call polarity diagrams. So we polarize the system in relation to some characteristics. And one polarity is the type of structure. We are speaking about distributed and decentralized. So I put, it's a pity, it's a little bit cut there, distributed structure. So the production unit is by the end user or the entrepreneur. And below we have decentralized structure. So the production unit is nearby and accessible by the local community or the end user or the local entrepreneur, okay? So this is about the system structure, and this is about the customer type, another axis that we find interesting to identify scenarios. So it could be B2C, business to consumer, we are offering to consumer something, or B2B, to other business. So what we came out is, well, then in each of the quadrant, we define some vision. Possible vision that a company may think about when trying to generate a new business model or a new proposal and so on. And we call this do it yourself for your own daily quality. And so it's a system in which a vision in which a producer or an alliances of producer offer ownerless and distributed economy support products to enable them to self-fulfill their own satisfaction, pay per period, time, and satisfaction. So this is going to the consumer with the distributed system. So where the unit, the solar panel is by me as a family or as a single living in a house or something like this, okay? Then we may think other situation in which we have a decentralized system, and we call this vision, we gave this title so far, launch a community sharing center to fulfill your own satisfaction. So it's a situation in which a producer or an alliances of producer, all the time we are thinking about stakeholder integration, you remember, so this is important. Offer ownerless distributed economy support products for shared space, so space that are shared by the community, to a locally networked community to enable to fulfill their own satisfaction, and they are again paying per time, per unit of satisfaction, per period, and so on. Whatever is the type of distributed economy we are thinking about, or the combination. But you will see in the next lecture some example about this by Chen. Then we go to business, and the business to business could be distributed. So distributed, it means that the solar panel or the unit of production is by the local entrepreneur. It's really in the place where this is produced. So we call that startup, as a title, startup, your small scale, locally based business without initial investment cost. a producer or an alliance of producer offer ownerless DA support products to local entrepreneurs that pay per period, time, and satisfaction. Okay, so even a company, a local company, may start a business without, you know, the initial investment cost of buying the solar panel or the 3D printer or other things that may be too costly, you know, to start up the business. So they can do that, having offer as an SPSS. In the other case, it's decentralized, so it's not by the producer, but is so the producer is going to some place that is shared by other producer, let's say. And we call that startup your virtual office workshop for small local entrepreneur. So a producer or an alliance of producer offer ownerless distributed economy support products to a local entrepreneur or to start up a virtual office workshop, paying per period, time, and so on. So it's like whatever kind of distributed economy I'm working on, I have this kind of virtual workshop, virtual office in which different, you know, company entrepreneur can come to have their own business. But this entrepreneur offering this virtual office can start this because, again, there is not the initial investment cost of buying lots of stuff to have this virtual shop or workshop or whatever it is, okay? To produce different type of artifact, as we said, you know, the different type of distributed economy, okay? So this is what we picture out. This was a design process to come out with this. We don't have the time to discuss this into this course, though it would be interesting in another occasion. Maybe we can do that, or if you are interested, maybe with Cenk we can make some kind of a lecture saying which was the process of doing this. And then since together with Cenk and Cenk selected and made these cases, then after we develop the scenario, we put the cases into the scenario. Now I'm not going to describe the cases because he's going to describe this. But I want to say still something about design, okay? You are designer, and you said to me, okay, now I get a point, I hope. Distributed economy, SPSS. Wow, could be even interesting because this is even stronger in terms of locally based sustainability if we couple these two business models. But we as designer, what we can do, it's a system to be designed, and this is in fact the second research hypothesis, as we call, of the Lansing project. We said, okay, if we have a research hypothesis one, if you apply SPSS to DA, it's very interesting, win-win even for the second, and we are actually working on that, and it seems that it's really very interesting because we find very good example about that. The second research hypothesis that we had and we are working on, we already developed some knowledge and some tools that you will be using, is that a designer may have a role in designing such a system, okay? Sorry, I'm speaking even a bit about what is to make research on design. I don't know if this is too boring for you, but it's part of our work. You know, when you are in a research university, we are all the time researching, and anytime we have something new, we have to take it to our students. This is the difference from schools and research school. Okay? So, system design for sustainability for all, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to speak about this. It's too long now. It's boring. You remember which were the key approaches and skill when speaking? I go back one. When speaking about system design for sustainability, the first approach was about satisfaction system approach. It means that we, as designer, should think about designing a unit of satisfaction, the eating within that campus or whatever it is, okay? But a unit of satisfaction. And then all its related products and services that can fulfill this unit of satisfaction, particular customer demand, okay? Then we have a stakeholder configuration approach. It means that we as designer have to be able to design the stakeholder interaction. So before designing, you know, the single product or whatever it is, software, we have to design before the interaction of the stakeholder. We have to think and to be creative in making the configuration of the actors. You remember the system map that I showed to you, okay? All this will come much more clear when you will design this, but I hope that you get the point and you remember something. So this was similar to what we said before. The last issue is a little bit different, so it's a system sustainability for all approach, in the sense that what changes that we have to design such a stakeholder interaction that for economic and competitive reason leads towards environmentally and socio-ethically beneficial solution of the distributed economy that we are designing, not whatever, the distributed economy that has some peculiar characteristics, okay? That has some peculiar characteristics. So we have to have some knowledge even about that. It's not just as a system design in general, okay? But basically, the approach and the skill are the same. The only thing is that we are applying to a peculiar type of offer, which is called distributed economy, with all its so again, a new role for the design, but we said again this, this is something that again I want to highlight. Many times when you speak about low and low income context, we are speaking about appropriate technology. So those technology that could be used by low income people. So don't think about very sophisticated laser cutting system for a context that will never be able to use those production system and so on. This is appropriate technology. That's fine. What we are thinking and speaking about is more about appropriate stakeholder interaction. And you get the point. If we design appropriate stakeholder interaction that are sustainable in all the way that we saw, then we can design and produce something, maybe even using high quality and high advanced technology system. Because if I don't have to buy them, I may have access to it, and the producer may be interested in giving me the most advanced one because it could be an interest to have something that consumes less resources because you are paid per use and not per consumption of resources and something like this. Okay, so even the fact of appropriate technology may be a limit here. You know, it's like to say we give only the poor technology to poor people. In this case, maybe we could give even very advanced technology because the model is in this direction. This has lots of benefits, even in terms of skills improvement. Okay, because if I'm using high technology, maybe I'm updated to new technologies and so on, and so. Well, I think it's clear. Nevertheless, within the Lansing project, what we are working on, there is some knowledge base and know-how tools that are related to product service system design for sustainability that is quite consolidated. And now we are coupling this with the knowledge base and the know-how, the tools that are used in distributed economy to come out with a knowledge. So knowledge, when I'm speaking about knowledge, is what you have to know as a designer when you are designing this system. And know-how is what are the tools and the method that you can use as a support tool during the design process. Okay. So within the Lansing project, we are working on building this. And as I told you already, one first pilot course has a core in India. The second one started yesterday in Cape Town, and so they are already using, and we will be using some of those tools. Again, I will ask you how you feel with that, because they are tentative tools. Okay, so in a sense, you could say, well, why you are teaching me something that you are not sure that it works really very well? I think that I want to do that with you. I think that anyhow is a learning experience for you, and it's very helpful for me. And I love to be with a student. I think that we are here to learn even together. When we are in this kind, when we are Master of Science student, actually, we have to have an open mind. You have to move in a world that is not all the time fixed. It's not just in one handbook and everything is written there. It's moving very fast, and we have to be able to. And so I think that this is very helpful for me. I don't see this, but I think it could be helpful even for you. But I'm waiting your feedback on what we have been able to produce so far. So you will see, but this will be described the next lecture, the tools that we have, the more consolidated and the less consolidated. They are available, as you know, open source and copyleft. And finally, here, this is the last slide, and then we have a good break, because I've been speaking quite a lot. Then Cenk will introduce you some case study of distributed economy, linked to some criterion guidelines. You saw some criterion guidelines of SPSS for the environmental and the socio-ethical, and these are a little bit different but similar in the structure, and they are 6. One is complement distributed economy hardware offer with life cycle services as a full package, is to make the DA as the first type of PSS, basically as a product oriented. Then offer ownerless DA system as enabling platform, the second type of PSS, SPSS, remember, use-oriented PSS. The third one, offer ownerless DA system with full service. Full service is result-oriented type of PSS, and you will see example. Then optimize stakeholder configuration. Think about which is the best configuration of the actors to be sustainable in all the dimensions in relation to the type of DA system you have there inside. Another thing which is quite important, and you will find some example, to delink the payment modality from the hardware purchase or the resource consumption, which is very good for environmental dimension. And then optimize the system structure, whether it's decentralized, whether it's distributed, whether there is a mini grid or something like this. So you will see these criteria with some guidelines and especially with some example. But remember that those guidelines, together with the example, will actually be used within a tool for idea generation. So you will have idea generation table. We are working on to have them ready for you. So to help achieve a generation of ideas that are promising in relation to sustainability, in relation to some different dimensions. Okay?